Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name's Jeff, and I'm with Local Legal Marketing. I know my background looks a little bit odd for a webinar, but the truth is, I am most comfortable on my sailboat. No, she's not a big 150-foot yacht or anything like that. It's a wonderful, classically restored 28-foot Sabre. And so, our webinars will be coming you from on board here in beautiful St. Petersburg, Florida. That said, you might occasionally hear marina noises, and we are right next to the local municipal airport, so every once in a while you hear a helicopter or an airplane. If it gets in the way, I will pause until they have passed. So without further ado, I'm thrilled that you are here. I'm hoping that at the end of this presentation, you're going to be totally invigorated. You will have new information that will absolutely jazz you. And perhaps your law firm will never be the same again. Your 2020 Internet Marketing Plan. Maximize your inbound prospects in the new year. Double and triple or more your per partner profit. And that might sound outlandish, but you know what? It's quite possible. And we're looking forward to showing you exactly how some of our clients have done exactly that. What we're going to cover, we'll set goals for 2022, but we're going to be real specific. This is not a fluff type occasion. We're going to drive you through a spreadsheet, all the online marketing channels you should be tapping into to maximize your lead flow online. Now, there's also the latest trends to focus on in 2022, and we'll develop a custom action plan based on where you are right now and what you need to do. Now, that's a lot to cover in an hour, so I'm going to run without questions. If you have questions, feel free to shoot them to me in an email. That's hello@locallegalmarketing.com, and we'll carry on. And if you stay till the end, you'll get all of our contact information so that I can send you the workbook, the spreadsheets, the cheat sheets, everything you need to build your custom 2022 marketing plan. And it's not just a marketing plan, it's a blueprint for success. This slide usually ends up in the end, but it's so crystal clear, tells you exactly how much this marketing thing has changed that I put it up here up front. Now, first I want to say I use a bunch of screenshots all the time. They're random. I do not claim to have a relationship with any of the attorneys on here. But here's a typical search for a personal injury attorney in Tampa. What do you get? First, you get the new Google screened ads. Then you get the ads. Then you get Google My Business. Then you get Google Maps. You have this cool position that came out a year or two ago called Position Zero, where you have answers to questions immediately on the front page without having to have to go to a site. And then you finally have the search engine results at the bottom. Now, I remember the days where if you were on the top of search, or heck, if you were even in the front page of search, you were guaranteed boatloads of traffic. Well, Google knew how to build demand to their search engine. Everybody's used to Googling. Googling has become a verb. Google every time you look. And now that we are in the pattern of going to Google, all of a sudden, what used to be just a few ads at the top is now screened ads, the same number of ads at the top. It's the Google My Business. It's the Position Zero, all of which promote Google. And at the bottom, you have the search results, the organics, the stuff you used to, oh, if only I could get there. You want the next kicker? Here I'm showing the top 4 results. I didn't show the entire page. Only 2 of them are actually attorney. The other 2 are directories like Avo and Martindale-Hubbell. You've got a 1 in 2 chance of getting to the top 4 of search. The top 4 of search you have to scroll to find, and everything else is paid from Google. The world has changed, folks. It's not all about SEO any longer. So what is it about? This is our Rainmaker Client Attraction Blueprint, and here's what gets involved in it. Social media, directories and citation, pay-per-click ads, retargeting ads, search engine optimization, reputation reviews, videos and podcasts, sales automation, emails, marketing, research, and your website. And here we've got the Client Attraction Blueprint. So the Client Attraction Blueprint will give you an outline so that when you create your marketing plan, which you'll be prepared to do after today's presentation, when you get that, you'll be able to build your 2022 marketing plan and your strategy to absolutely conquer your local market. Now, over here on the other side, you'll see I've got a page for Be the 20. It's a 20-week course. If you execute on everything in that 20-week course, which includes all of this and has tremendous granular detail, I guarantee you, you will be in the top 20% of your market. It is a system. It's a system that you need to execute on, and I'm not going to belabor that because we promised an hour. Who am I and why should you listen to me? Oh, how many webinars have we all been to where this is 20 minutes of how great I am? This isn't going to be that. I am the author of Be the 20, the complete online training for internet marketing for law firms. And it's all about how to join the top 20% of all legal marketers in your specialty. I'm a second generation marketing firm. Habitat Marketing was formed 40 years and it has changed into Hoff Inc. For the last 20 years, we have been focused on the legal market. And we have just launched local legal marketing. So we have been involved with attorneys in the legal profession for a long time. We have been marketers for even longer. More than that, we've established a success formula. We came up with the fact that getting to the top of search and maximizing the volume to your law firm was about a system. That was 8 years ago, and we have been developing that system ever since. Today, that system has morphed into the Rainmaker Client Attraction Blueprint, and that's what we're going through. Now, that's our established success formula. I'm also a public speaker, and I've been a legal marketing trainer for a long time. Little factoid, I'm on a boat. I'm a sailor. Also, a personal factoid, I'm the father of quintuplets. You don't find many people who can say that. Now, what's the hardest part about marketing your law firm online? In my opinion, the hardest part about marketing your law firm online is working with guys like me. It was brought to my attention by an attorney friend of mine who I have great respect for, that at Harvard, do you know how many marketing classes he had? None. And I asked him why you thought that is. And he said, the benefactors of the law schools, the people that are huge donors, are mega firms, and they are not interested in creating entrepreneurs. They're interested in paying good workers. That leaves us with, you haven't been trained in the skills that I have. Then there's the crushing fact that at the moment there are more students studying to become lawyers than there actually are lawyers. So your volume of competition is going to explode over the next few years as these people enter the marketplace. And these people are tech savvy. For them, using social media and digital communications is painless. I remember I had to convince the software company I was the vice president of that they ought to invest in a fax machine. That's where we are today with attorneys saying you ought to be investing in chatbots. You ought to be investing in market automation, because the guys that are coming and the gals that are coming behind you in school right now have this stuff cold, and they are going to leave you in the weeds. That also means opportunity. And with opportunity comes hucksters, people more than happy to take your money. And in my opinion, the worst part of online marketing is the charlatan that will tell you, I have this one thing. This one thing is going to make you blah, 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 blah. Just invest in Facebook ads. Just invest in YouTube ads. Just invest in whatever it happens to be. Now, if you take a look at my previous slide, there is no one thing. It is a system. It has to be thought through. You need to execute with excellence, and there is no one thing. The people that are pitching one thing do it because they only know one thing. We're marketers. We ply our craft digitally. I'm a second generation marketer, and the family's been at this for over 40 years. That's important because there is no one thing. And so in my opinion, the hardest part about marketing your law firm online right now is there is almost no one that you can trust in my industry. I'm hoping by the end of this presentation, you will understand that there is a path forward, that it makes sense, and there is no one thing. And hopefully the people that deliver you that message will earn some of your business. It won't earn everybody's business. And we're not trying to find everybody. We're trying to find the attorneys that are intensely motivated to double and triple their profitability. Is that you? If it's you, then we're traveling the same road in different lanes. We're going to the same place, and we can work together. Now, we've got a workbook. This whole thing that we're going through, don't worry about zipping by it fast because it's going to get quicker. Just know that I will be sending you this workbook, which is the entire presentation, plus a couple of extra goodies. Just send me an email to hello@locallegalmarketing.com. Send me an email and I will have lots of downloads for you, including the workbook that includes this entire presentation. Now, why? So much stuff when you try to figure this out is uncertain. And for us, it's just agonizing to go into a new client's office and to know that they're doing all right, $3 or $4 million, and they're kind of happy and they're earning good money, but they know that there's more. They don't have a marketing budget. They don't have a vision for what they want to promote. They don't have a really solid idea of what their client looks like. That's why we're doing this exercise. And again, this exercise is about a continuous process. Another problem that people have is it's a major investment. And when you deal with predominantly charlatans, that investment just simply goes out the window with nothing to show for it. So what happens when you get hooked up with somebody that doesn't recognize that you have a methodical system to go through, when you don't have clear goals? If you don't have a clear plan, you overspend and underperform. Start your marketing with a clear plan with goals, targets, and KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicator. We will send you the spreadsheet that will build this. It has goals, it has targets, and key performance indicators. So you will start running with a rational set of instructions that you can then hand off to either your internal marketing people or your contract marketing people. And for some of you, the most aggressive, the most ambitious, we may end up being your marketing partner. Now, if you generate enough prospects and initial consultations to hit your target and keep your lawyers booked, that's what we want to do. We don't want to say you had 4,000 visits to your website. We don't want to say, whatever the indicator is. The real KPI, the real key performance indicator, people in my industry don't like to talk about it, but it is getting enough prospects and consultations into your office to make your targets and to keep your lawyers booked. You don't care if you had 5 people come to your website or 5,000 people come to your website. As long as those 5 people or those 5,000 people are helping you to keep your targets and to keep your lawyers billable. If that happens, you have a great return on your investment. Our idea of success is to maximize the flow of leads into your firm so that you can hit your revenue and profit goals for 2022. So you might have figured already your first step is clear goals. Now, what are your goals for 2022? Some people say, I want to make a lot of money. Good. Put your arms around it. Make it real. Let's get some numbers on this. Brian Tracy, great guy to read content from, said success is goals. All else is commentary, and I believe him. Our goal at Local Legal Marketing is pristine clear. Over the next 12 months, we wish to engage 50 law firms that are interested and driven, not just interested, but driven to double and triple their per partner profit. What's your goal? Does it have a number? Is it measurable? Now, I'm a sailor, so this is where it comes in. You see this? This is somebody without goals. Their practice is doing well. By luck, by circumstance, they inherited it. They met the right people at the right time. They're floating along, having a nice day on a calm, beautiful day, saying, my, life is grand. Now I'm a sailor. I don't mind days like that. But what I like is the sails pulled in tight, the boat heeled over, water rushing over the side, having the thrill of my life. Goals is wind in your sails. The exact same vessel, the exact same law firm can either float along having a nice time or be adrenaline filled, driving great excitement. In a Harvard study, it was a 1979 interview of grad. 84% at Harvard, 84% had no specific goals. 13% had goals they weren't written down. 3% had clear and written goals and plans to accomplish them. What happened? 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84 who had no goals. Even more staggering. The 3% who had clear written goals were earning an average of 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. That's crucial. People look at me when I say double and triple your business, double and triple your per partner profit, double and triple your overall profitability. That's impossible. Really, Harvard grads making 10 times what their contemporaries are earning. Same education. The delta, largely goals and a path to get there. Now, how we set up goals is you need to have them written. That's like the key thing. Anybody who does goals will tell you your goals need to be written. You should have an annual goal, which breaks down to quarterly goals, which breaks down to monthly goals. And you have to stop at the end of each year and at the end of each quarter and say, this is what I thought I was going to do. What did I really do? And move on from there. So you must hold yourself accountable, or you must have an accountability partner that will work with you. So again, what are your goals for 2022? What's your revenue target? How much does that work out to monthly? How many contacts, how many calls, how many initial consultations are you going to have in order to make that? And what is your average transaction value? Missing from this spreadsheet is not only what is your average transactional value, but what is your typical lifetime client value? How much is that client going to earn you over their lifetime? Too many legal events appear to treat their clients as one and done, when in fact there is almost always additional work that can happen over time. So what are your goals? Let's do an example, and everybody's going to be different. We've got people who run ticket clinics that might be happy to pick up $200 in a single transaction. We've got intellectual property people that might pick up several thousand. Personal injury attorneys, they might make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a good case. So you got to pick a revenue target. And for purpose of discussion, I'm going to say $5.5 million in revenue. How much is that in monthly? It's $460. What's the average lifetime value of a client? $20,000. Now, how many clients are you going to need every month at $20,000 to make your $460? 23. Now, what if you close 3 out of every 4 consultations? So somebody reaches out to you, they end up doing business with you. 1 out of 4 ends up doing business somewhere else. And 75%, frankly, is a really good percentage. If you have a 75% closing ratio, then you need 31 consultations in a month. Now, how many inbound calls do you need, or form fills or chat conversations to get the 31 consultations? Now, assuming you got a 1 in 5 conversion, which again is fairly high, 20% of all your initial contacts ends up in a further conversation, whether that's an initial consultation or whether it's a meeting or whatever it happens to be. If you've got a 20% closing rate, you need to talk to 155 new people every month to make your 5.5 million. Now we have hard numbers. We're not talking, now my business doesn't have a $20,000 lifetime value. Well, what is the lifetime value of your client? Adjust your numbers accordingly. And that gets a little tricky. So we have a spreadsheet that we will provide for you. And again, all you have to do is shoot me an email to hello@Local Legal Marketing. And this spreadsheet takes you from where are you now by these different key performance indicators, which is your annual revenue, your monthly revenue target, your lifetime value, and how many clients are required. And you know what? If you have 4 different facets of your business and 4 different services, and you do product information in criminal and family law, then maybe you need more than one of these, because the numbers will be different for each. And then you'll turn around and say, well, 30% of my business is criminal, 50% personal injury, and so forth. But at least here we have a starting point that will walk you through exactly where you are. There's another panel that says where you want to be. And there's a third panel that says, here's the difference. Here's the increase that you're going to need in order to make these goals. So not sure how to create all of these KPIs, want it simplified? Give me a holler. hello@locallegalmarketing.com, and I'll send you the spreadsheet, and I'll even help you walk through it. Once again, what are your goals and how many leads are you going to need a month to get there? Here's the fundamentals of marketing. You have to have a good message. You have to know who your market is, and you have to know how to reach them. So message, market, and media. You're going to hear this a couple of times. Let me repeat it. Message, market, and media. Message, what you do, how you help. Market, who you help. Media, how you reach them. Time to update your marketing message. That's the first pillar. And we start that by saying, who's your ideal customer? And again, if you send me a message at hello@local legal marketing, I will send you a document that will help you build what's called your ideal client avatar, should you choose to engage us. We have a much more thorough overview of analyzing prospective client called the Client Muse. For most people, though, starting here is good enough. Let me tell you where we came across this. When my quintuplets were born, it became apparent that the revenue I had from my little networking company and marketing company was inadequate to have the stability of supporting a large family. I got recruited by Home Shopping Network, HSN. They went through the process of saying, we will not buy anything to sell to our client if we don't understand our client. And they interviewed a huge chunk of their clients, and they came back with an avatar for each of their clients. And Sally was this type of person, and Sue Ellen was this type of person. So they created 4 different avatars, 4 different character types of people that are currently shopping on their channel. Fast forward a couple of years, and I run into the client avatar again, reading some of Ryan Dice's fantastic information on digital marketing. Who is your ideal client? What are their plans? What are their frustrations? What are their fears? What happens if their fears come true? What are their goals and desires? What are their dreams and aspirations? What do they read? What is their age? What do they do for entertainment? All of these things help you craft a message and help you identify which media might reach them so that it resonates with them. So reach out to us at hello@locallegalmarketing.com, and we will get you the client avatar form, and you'll begin working on understanding your client better as opposed to understanding what you do. I want to just do one more thing here. We work for a lot of creditors' rights attorneys. Not understanding your client is brutally unprofitable. If you go to Google and you ask Google, and you can do this by going to google.com/trends, what's the volume of search for creditors' rights attorney? You'll see a little small line saying not many people are searching for it. If you then type in debt collection attorney, you see this huge line that says there's tremendous search. And when you compare the 2 lines, the line for creditors' rights is barely visible because debt collection is so much larger in the volume of search. Not understanding your client and their language, their needs, leads you shouting to the world through your message, a message that may not resonate. For instance, somebody involved for the very first time in a traffic accident. They may not even know what a personal injury attorney is. Here you are working like crazy to get ranked for a personal injury attorney. The layperson may not even know what that is. That's your language, not their language. Their language is they're looking for a car crash attorney. They're looking for an attorney to get their medical bills paid. They don't know the name personal injury. That's where the client avatar comes in. Getting to understand your client better. You can see Chris Client through their eyes. You can more effectively market what they need. Now let's look at your message. Why should someone choose to do business with you versus the competition? Take a minute. Come up with 3 reasons. If you can't come up with 3 reasons why somebody should choose you instead of somebody else, you're not going to be a top performer. Spend a moment. You'll have access to the replay. Put it on pause and come up with 3 reasons someone should deal with you as opposed to the personal injury attorney down the street. Why they should work with you as opposed to the intellectual property guy in Miami. What benefits do you offer your target client avatar? What benefits do you offer that your client avatar will resonate with? Let me give you a small example. My daughter, recently in a traffic accident. I tell her after her accident, your first step has to be to go see a medical person, whether you hurt or not, because there's a time limit. If you end up hurting a week from now, that's too late. So go now. And your second stop after that is to call my friend who's a personal injury attorney. Give Chris a holler. I don't want to involve an attorney. I said, yeah, but The insurance company's not your friend in this. No, I don't want to involve a personal attorney. It's not about the money. I just, I want to feel better. I didn't want to get hit. I want my car to get fixed. Fortunately, she went for medical attention, but it wasn't even a week later when the doctors did their MRI and said, other person's insurance only going to pay for 80% of this, and we need $400 from you. And you are into at least a half year of therapy. And each session is $150, and you're responsible for $30 of that. Well, the math adds up. All of a sudden, what was the name of that attorney you were working with? What benefits do you offer? If you turned around to my daughter and said, I can make you $100,000, it would be meaningless to her. She doesn't want $100,000. She didn't earn it. It doesn't fit her idea of life. If you said, we'll make sure that your medical expenses get paid without costing you a nickel, and at the end of it all, there might be a couple of dollars that will compensate you for the pain and suffering and aggravation you've been through. That's a message that would resonate. So let's look at your client avatar. And what are the messages that would resonate? It's quite possible they're not what you think they are, because you have your own built-in bias. Messaging that works is some sort of message that says, we understand your pain and your problem. Nobody wakes up and says, wow, I can't wait. I'm going to find an attorney today. They say, oh, crap, I have this problem. What am I going to do? How am I going to solve it? And then they start researching ways to solve the problem. And then at some point in time during their research, they say, geez, I can't do this. And that's when they start looking for an attorney. Now, if somebody has a problem with intellectual property and they're concerned that a competitor has stolen their ideas that they neglected to patent, what's their pain? A statement like, are you worried about somebody taking your ideas and making money off of them, cutting you out of the loop? That's their pain. That's the problem they're solving. If instead you have 4 middle-aged guys, okay, all with their hands in their pockets, looking at the camera, saying, we have 120 years experience in the Sarasota area. How does 120 years of nebulous combined experience solve their pain and their problem? How about we make sure that people get compensated for their ideas by whatever? Focus on solving pain and problem. Focus on response time. Somebody's reaching out to you. They want help. I have a client that if they get a call, might call back within a week. Well, their competitors have already called because nobody calls one person and stops. They call, they go to voicemail, and they say, oh, crap, I need an answer. They find the next person. The next person has a chat bot, and they say, I'm sorry, nobody's here. You leave me your name, phone number, and email, and tell me how you prefer to be contacted. I guarantee you that somebody will be back to you in 45 minutes. Cool, you've solved my immediacy problem. I've got a problem. That's why I'm looking at attorneys' websites. I'm not into waiting until it's time for you to get around to talk to me. Past performance, all right? We've earned our clients. So you go through what is called social proof. Fear, assuage their fear. Almost everybody reaching out to an attorney does so from a place of fear. There's a problem that if they don't get controlled has consequences. This is what you look for in messaging. Understanding their pain and problem, getting to them quickly. Your past performance is social proof that you can do this. Other people just like you have benefited this way, and we will make sure your fear does not come through. We understand your fear. So what's your message? Go ahead, pull up your website. Let's find out. Let's go take a look at media now. Make sure your hub converts. What in the heck does that mean? That is like sales and marketing speak, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. The hub is your website, and that website may be the very last thing that they encounter with your branding on it. Might be the first thing, but in all probability, it's the last thing. The other things that are working out there are social media accounts and YouTubes and podcasts and videos and Facebook groups and referrals from other people. Every little touch point, wherever you happen to be, all comes back to your website. Now, if your website has 4 middle-aged guys standing on the front saying, we have 120 years combined experience, all with their hands in their pockets, standing in front of a nondescript building, you're not going to turn anybody who's coming to your website into a client. What you got is a standing brochure. 1960s technology on a website. Your website has the ability to be interactive, it has ability to engage who you are dealing with. And the whole engagement process is about taking them from a visitor to a prospect. They take action. And a horrible statistic is 97% of people that visit a website take no action. So your website needs to convert. Conversion is not a mistake. It doesn't happen by accident. Here's a really, really simple website. Very simple website, right? What's this got to do with anything? I've got a simple single-click navigation. Calls to action. Request a free consultation. That clicks to a form. A phone number. That's to call if you happen to be on your phone. Call us button. A contact online that comes you to another form. On top of that, how can we help you? We're experienced legal counsel for your family law, personal injury, criminal, estate, and business law needs. Do you cover what I need? Yes, we do. And an emotional appeal. Okay, we've got you covered. They've heard that from countless clients saying, oh, I am so glad you got me covered. You got my back. Thank you. I'm so relieved, especially in the family law world. And so they've picked up We've Got You Covered, which I have a little closed up here, but that's your emotional appeal. So you've got an emotional appeal, which is the security. We've got you covered. Let your fears down. We've got exactly what we do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different calls to action where real people appear. This isn't clip art of people on a keyboard that mean nothing or an old court building. These are the people. Look at them. I can trust them. And your navigation is a simple single click. It looks simple, but it doesn't happen by accident. Now pull up your website. Go ahead. Pause me. How easy is it to contact you? I have one client, an old school client. Here's a phone number in the upper right-hand corner. He doesn't want any contact forms. He doesn't want a chatbot. That's because people of his generation pick up the phone and call. Millennials would never pick up the phone and call. It took us 2 years. And he finally said, all right, on the contact page, you can put an email address. Every time you have to click someplace else, you lose 75% of your traffic. Their contact page has about 1/10 of the traffic of their homepage. Let's say it's even numbers. People will email you. People will pick up a phone. People will fill out a form. People will use the chat bot, 25% each. If you only have a phone number, you have just written off 75% of your prospects. So when I talk about doubling and tripling the profitability of your firm, what if your current website ignores 75% of the market by not offering a fillable form, by not offering chat, and by not offering a click to email? Imagine increasing your first consultations. Remember, we needed 150 on that example. By 3 times, simply making your homepage more converting. Then add to that homepage at least one emotion. Add to that homepage the certainty that you can help them and make yourselves real. A converting website does not happen by accident. Let's talk about that. Does your website speak to your target avatar? Are you using their language? Are you addressing their fears? Does it address fears, frustrations, speak to why they choose you? Does it have an authentic images of your team on the homepage and throughout the website? Or is it just standard clip art that they can get anywhere? Is there a welcome video? Or is there video for each of your services? People, depending on their generation, far more prefer video than reading. The only generation, statistically, that does not prefer video over reading are about to retire. All right, so if you're catering to the baby boomers, you're catering to a market that is fading and you're ignoring the rest of the market. Video sells. Video lets you give your message. Video also has tremendous credibility and sincerity behind it. Video explaining why someone should contact you versus someone else. Do you have online reviews, which us marketing people like to talk about social proof? You make it easy for them to take action and contact you. You need a phone number. Sure, there's a web form. Have credibility with things like Better Business Bureau and AVO ratings and Google stars. All of these things to say, you can trust us. Is there a call to action on every page that speaks to your customer avatar? Are you giving them an opportunity to engage with you by chat? Are you kidding? We tried chat once, ran it for 2 months. Only 2 people ever. Oh, really? Only 2. That's 24 over the year, and your closing ratio, you told me, was 75%. That means you walked away from 18 clients. Really? At $20,000 each. That's no way to double and triple your profitability. That's no way to rock your industry. Put it there. If it gets you one $20,000 client, it way more than paid for itself. But that's the wrong attitude. If you say, if it gets me only one, then you're setting your own expectations. And those expectations are set too low. At a bare minimum, having things like chat says, we understand how you like to communicate. And if you're pressed and really need an answer right now, use the chat button. Later on, if you choose to ignore us, like 97% of all people visiting the website take no action, at least you know when you come back, because we made a good impression on you the first time, that you can reach somebody right away because there's a chat option. Set your expectations appropriately. Are you leveraging marketing automation and text to maximize your lead conversion rates? You get a 90% and better response rate from a text, and you get about a 3% response rate from email. Or are you still trying to figure out, like my former employer years ago, whether or not to get a fax machine? So your website, pull it up right now. Is it built to convert? What do you need to change? How's your messaging? How are your conversion elements? Are you addressing emotions? And is it talking to your client avatar? Or is it saying, we have 120 years of combined experience in the Sarasota area? No. Make it work. Don't make it an old brochure. Here's the deal with brochures. Any of you older attorneys who've been practicing for a while, you did the corporate brochure. Where did the corporate brochure go? Went in the literature closet. How often did you dust it because nobody saw it? Don't treat your website, which is a dynamic tool to interact with people, like a 1960s, 1970s era brochure. Now, the biggest issue facing law firms when it comes to getting more leads, more prospects, more appointments, is unconverted leads. Here's the problem. 50 to 60% of your inbound traffic leads unconverted. Remember that client that I spoke about that had their phone number in the upper right-hand corner and they didn't believe in having forms for people to fill out? No, they didn't believe in chat because they thought nobody engages in chat and that's not our client. And I worked 2 years for them to put an email on their contact page. When you call the phone number, it gets picked up by a robot and the robot gives you 8 choices. If you're a judge, press 1. If you're a client, press 2. If you're somebody we're suing, press 3, yada, 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 yada. Do you know what they don't have? New inquiries, press 1. So they've spent all of this money on search engine optimization. And I'll tell you right now, they show up on the top of search for every city in the state of Florida for their specialty. And the only way they get people to contact them is by phone. And when they call by phone, nobody knows what button to push. So you listen to the whole long 8-point voicemail, which aggravates people, and people drop out of the voicemail tree all the time, only to find there is no option for new business. And they hang up. And people say, how can you say that you can guarantee you will double and triple my profitability? Look at something that's simple. What happens when people call you? Are you immediately welcoming and open to their business? Do you show them that you understand their problem and you can fix it for them? 90% of web forms fail to convert. Only 3% of website visitors take any action at all. So when they do take action, it behooves us to make sure that we do everything we can to stay in contact with them. And one of the things, you got 15 minutes to follow up with them. The American Bar Association did a study and they found out that unlike 10 years ago, when the typical person contacted 3 attorneys before engaging them across all services, that number today is 12. So they're looking at research results. They're looking at referrals from friends. They're looking at an ad that they see in social media and they're clicking. And they're going to do that for a dozen other people. Now, if they're one of the 3% that reaches out to you, they have an expectation that you're going to be back to them within 15 minutes. Otherwise, you're off their radar screen. They've forgotten your name. Something on your site caused them to convert, and then you drop the ball. The average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking a consult. And today's customer prefers to interact by text message instead of phone or email. So how open are you to those things? One of the things that we can do is marketing automation. Let's say that somebody visits your site and does nothing. Through marketing automation, we can track them and we can start sending them ads when they're on Fox News or any number of the millions of websites that are supported by advertising. The only people that see your ad are the people that visited your site. You know that they're a good prospect for you because nobody came to your site by accident. So they come to your website, they leave, and they get this sort of background visibility to whom you are. Not enough to cause them to use you, but maybe once you talk about one service, once your ad is another service, maybe one of your services talks about the good that you do for the community, and they will begin to recognize your name. Marketing automation means if they fill out a web form, I can send them a response back. Somebody does a client intake form, right? Da, 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 da. Boom, go. What happens to that client intake form? Oh, well, the front desk takes it, they print it out, they put it in a file, they put it on the attorney's inbox. And the attorney's in court, so they'll get back to him the next day. What about they hit enter and the form gets sent to you, and immediately there's an email that goes back out to them and says, "We got your request. Thanks so much for trusting us." 2 hours later, they get another one saying, "Listen, while you're waiting for us to get back, we're in court, and so we're not going to get back to you immediately, and I'm sorry about that. But while you're doing that, here's some interesting stuff about our firm." Maybe the next day, if you haven't gotten back, here's a few reviews that people have left about us, and the reason we haven't gotten back to you is, and it's all on autopilot. So instead of a file folder sitting on the inbox of a busy attorney because you don't have an intake attorney, you've now got an automated messaging system that goes out to them, and they're starting to see your ads, which reinforces your name. That's what makes you double and triple your profitability, not wasting opportunity. Again, I'll get back to your website is a ecosystem. It's the hub of your marketing activity. What if somebody, I have to tell you this. They have a instant messaging function on their Facebook page. One of their former clients read somebody else's Facebook post saying that they've been in an accident and they don't know how they're going to afford all their bills and yada, 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 yada. And that friend on Facebook says, "Go check out XYZ. All right, because they helped me out and I never worried about a single bill. They took care of everything. All I had to do was focus on getting better." The person clicked on that link in the Facebook comment, went to the attorney's website. There was a message option. They hit message, they send a message, and because nobody believes in Facebook, that message sat there for 4 days. Do you think that person actually got another attorney in that time? I believe it probably did. Automated follow-up. That's the solution. That's the marketing automation part. And it's simple math. Let's take a look at this, just in case you don't believe. Let's say you get 100 leads. You have a conversion rate of 30% with no follow-up. So a third of the people that reach out to you become a client. No additional follow-up needed. And that is sailing on your sailboat during sunset, a nice, lazy, quiet sail. My firm's doing good. I'm doing way better than my mom and dad did. Life is good. No challenges. I don't need to scramble to follow up. 30% close rate. You book 30 initial consultations. Your average client lifetime value is $20,000. Those 30 consults end up earning you $900,000. Now, the same 100 leads, if you move your conversion rate up to 70% because you're doing follow-up, you're immediately sending them subtle ads, not clobbering them over the head, but subtle ads, branding, okay, background stuff, building trust. You're getting some emails out to them immediately. You're getting back to their text messages, 70% getting back to their email. Because you're following up, your conversion rates goes to 70% through automated follow-up while they're waiting for a real attorney to call them back. Those same 100 leads converting at 70% or 70 consults with a client lifetime value of $20,000. That means that those 70 leads end up earning you $2.1 million instead of $900,000. That's almost 3 times revenue right there. Well, I don't believe in automated follow-up. Good. Your best competition does. And they're sailing with the sheets in tight, with the water pouring over the back end, having the thrill of their life with their practice. You decide. If you're quiet and happy and like things the way they are, then keep doing it. Now, if you keep doing it, the return is going to get less and less and less because more and more of your competitors are going to become more and more aggressive. And the new kids coming out of college, remember, there's as many of them as there is of you today. More, in fact, those guys are going to be rocking it. So your return will diminish and diminish. Have you ever watched a former really successful law firm dry and shrivel up? It's sad. I have seen it over and over and over again because how we do it's how we've always done it. We don't need to do anything special. You're pushing me out of my comfort zone. Next thing you know, you no longer have a practice worth handing down to your daughter. She doesn't want to work for you. She doesn't want to take over your firm. Somebody else is rocking it. I had one client. I met them at a CLLA convention that I was speaking at. We got all involved in all kinds of cool stuff. He was a really interesting guy. Didn't have a website. I don't need one. People use me by word of mouth. And he tried to hire somebody. 3 candidates turned him down because he didn't have a website. I can't work for somebody who doesn't even have a website. Deal with conversion. Deal with automation. And all of a sudden, over the course of the next year, you'll see the returns come pouring in. Automation makes every lead you generate more value. Don't pay too much for those leads and then just waste them. Now, if you put it into your business, this is kind of what it looks like. And it's a little convoluted. And I'm going to speed up a bit because we're at our hour mark. When it comes to marketing automation, you don't want to go it alone. You want to pick a marketing partner that understands how it's done, that can execute well, because automation done poorly will cost your business. Automation done well will cause your business to grow geometrically. And automation includes everything from email responses to text messaging to automatic posting on social media to everything. It is your marketing engine. It lets you do 20 times the marketing for the same price of what you did by hand or what your in-house marketing person is doing manually. So it's the costs the same. It produces 10 times the results. And those results are more initial consultations. And that's the difference between 900,000 in revenue and 2.1. And in fact, it is probably a much larger difference than that. So let's take a look at some action items. What 3 conversion elements will you implement on your website? We talked about conversion. What are you going to add? What did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share with somebody? Now, we talked about key performance indicators, and there's an expression that marketing people like me like to throw out, and they attribute it to a guy named Peter Drucker. Any of you old school business management people know Peter Drucker as the father of business management. And the saying goes like this: what gets measured gets managed. People always say it's from Peter Drucker. Now, the Drucker Institute says, no, we never say that. Not true. Sounds good. Good soundbite, but it's not true. It was really written by a guy named Ridgway in a paper called Dysfunctional Consequences of Performance Measurements. And what it says is the exact opposite of what people thought it said when they believed Drucker did it. It says what gets measured gets managed, even when it's pointless to measure and manage it, and even if it harms the purpose of the organization to do so. So you got marketing people telling you what your ROI is on an ad, okay, or what your return on investment is for your social media, and it's nonsense. They do that because they can track clicks. They do that because if you have a phone tracking number, they can track calls. But what really matters is that you had 513 leads, you paid $7,500 for it, your cost per lead was $14.59, regardless of where they came from. Because somebody is going to encounter your brand on social media because somebody else recommended them, like the personal injury example I gave you earlier. Then they're going to see your ad a couple of times in the background and build some familiarity. Then they're going to search for a solution to their problem, and they might encounter a blog post that you wrote specifically about their problem. And then something else happens in life and they get busy and they get distracted. And finally, they come full circle around again to say, holy smokes, we're selling this stuff without a patent? That's it. We can't do it anymore. I just heard that Joe down the street's working on the exact same thing and reverse engineering what we did. That's it. No more. I got to call an attorney. And they go to Google, they type in intellectual property attorney, or they type in patent attorney or some other thing, and your name comes up, and they've already seen your brand a half dozen times. So they're more inclined to click on you, regardless of SEO. They clicked on you in organic search. Does that mean the ads had no value? Does that mean the social media had no value? No, it all works together. Now, it's good to know on the bottom line of this dashboard. So the dashboard says, how many leads, what did I pay for them, and what's my average cost per lead? Then you get how many organic calls, how many pay-per-click calls, how many Google Map calls, and how many people filled out a web form. That way you know generally here are the channels that are performing, but you're not bogging down in the nonsense statistics that some marketing agencies will send you a ton of. You should be dealing with practical KPIs, key performance indicators, stuff that moves your business ahead. How many people are coming in? How many do I close? What's their lifetime value? So far, we've worked on a clear goal and target for 2022. We have clarity around your market, your message, and the media. We've made sure that your website is optimized for conversion, and we've set up a really simple KPI tracking dashboard. We're not measuring stuff that's nonsense and meaningless. Now, we're at the hour. Those of you that have to leave, I will offer this as a replay. Future webinars, I have going to keep down to much less content, and we're going to do this in smaller nuggets, because clearly we can't drive this much in only an hour, and I don't feel good about asking you for more than an hour of your time. So for today, I'm going to keep on going. We've got another 15 minutes, okay? If you need to leave, please send an email to hello@Local Legal Marketing, and I will make sure that you get a link to the replay. You won't miss this. Key trends for 2020. There is no one thing. Get that out of your mind. SEO will not solve your problems. Pay-per-click will not solve your problems. Getting on social media will certainly not solve your problems. YouTube advertising. I met a guy once at a conference. I said, what do you do? He says, I'm a digital marketer. I said, cool, what you do? He says, I'm a digital marketer. I said, really cool. What do you do? He says, I'm a digital marketer. I said, what do you really do? What digital marketing do you do? YouTube. What do you do on YouTube? YouTube ads. Drives a mountain of traffic to my clients. I just looked at him and I thought, pal, you are green as they get. There is no one thing. It's a system. And if you want to be competitive and if you're driven to be 2 and 3 times more profitable in 12 months, as soon as somebody says, I have one thing, just hang up. Just say, go learn your business. Get out of here. Google local service ads. New trend for 2022, very, very interesting trend. There's a shift, a huge shift from phone conversations to messaging, especially baby boomers. I'm one of them. I'm on the very, 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 very tail end of it. So I'm just barely coming into my baby boomer years. We love the phone. Nobody else does. How much of the market do you want to ignore? Everybody deals with some messaging platform. Whether it's Slack or text or even email, they will take before phone. Our conversation is shifting from phone to messaging. When was the last time you got a fax? All right, Uniform Commercial Code recognizes fax as being an acceptable way of delivering a contract. Come on, when was the last time you sent a fax? Why are you still holding on to the phone as your only communications vehicle? You must have an all-in perspective. Do I really? No, you don't really. Your competitors will, though. Slowly but surely, they will eat away at your presence. And then all of a sudden, that loss becomes geometric and not arithmetic. And you're wondering, what happened to this great business I built? Maybe it's time to sell the plane. My Bertram can't last any longer. What happened to all the business? We were rocking it. You weren't all in. That's what we're about, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for firms that want to go all in, but don't know how. We're also looking for firms that are able to grow the way our marketing can generate for them. So if we're there, then it's the two of us traveling in 2 lanes, but on the same road. We're going to the same place, and we're helping each other out. Now, I've kind of grayed out the people. Again, any attorney you see here is not a client. They're just a random photo. This section up at the top that I've got a green bar over, just trying to give some privacy to the attorneys, is the Google service ad. Okay, and it sits on top of everything else. And on the top, it says Google Screen. Wow. I don't know how to tell one attorney from the other, and Google has screened them for me. What do you think that little title is worth to somebody who has no idea what they're looking for? Okay, people don't know how to shop for an attorney. People barely know how to shop for a car, and they do that several times in their lives. But if Google screened it, that's worth something. In the Google My Business, you've got a phone number, and Google tracks the calls. How nice is that? you get to know that you had 453 people call you off your Google My Business. I had a client didn't realize that they had more calls coming in from Google My Business than they did from their website. They didn't even realize I was managing their Google My Business for them. They thought that the SEO that they bought 7 years ago was driving all of their traffic. That's not the truth anymore. Google My Business is a huge driver. On the top of the page, you've got Google screen ads. Next, you've got the Google ads, and depending on when you're searching and the whim of the Google search algorithm, you may see things in a different order or more or less. But typically, Google screen ads, Google regular ads, Google Maps, Google My Business, something really cool down here called Position Zero, okay, that says, how does a personal injury attorney get paid? Wow. If Google thought my site was authoritative enough that they gave a position 0 for me, then you know that I'm doing well at being authoritative, and you know I'm getting traffic from other people. And then finally, you get the organic listings. It used to be organic listings started here, up at the top. You had the Google ads and then the organic listings. And you knew if you were first or second, you got most of the traffic. Today, first and second might be a legal directory like Avo. You have to fire on all cylinders. This is not a one and done thing. Google Local, this is what you got to do. You've got to complete their application. You have to have at least a 3-star rating. You have to pass a business background check and a business owner background check. Every lawyer at the firm has to prove that they have passed the state bar. You have to have malpractice insurance. You're going to spend anywhere between $20 and $150 a lead. And a rational budget is $2,000 a month if you're in a smaller city like St. Pete. If you're down in, say, Miami or Fort Lauderdale, you might be $3,000 a month in more competitive areas. The price is going to vary by city and by specialty. And the people we've talked to that do this have been really clear. It's been less expensive than pay-per-click. Now, this Google service ads are new, and they may not continue to be less than their pay-per-click. The cool thing is you're paying per lead, not click. All right, Google ads, you pay per click. Somebody clicks from the ad to your website, you pay for that click. On a service ad, somebody contacts you, and Google tracks the phone numbers, then you pay for that lead. So you're not paying for a click to your website where 97% don't do anything. You're paying for an actual contact. People have found that there are much higher quality leads than Able. They're not so much shoppers. You still get some price shoppers, and you have to follow up really quickly. Most of the people I've talked to have said it's got a solid ROI. Your reputation makes a big difference in how high you get listed, but there's no keyword ranking. You can't tell Google, I want a score for personal injury attorney. Google looks at what you do online, ascertains your specialty, and the Google algorithm decides which ads to show, not the keywords that you have given them. Keywords like personal injury attorney, like trusts and wills, and like elder law, all of those are keyword driven, and that's pay-per-click ads. That is not the service ads. Next step for local services, here's a link, complete your background checks, get her going. Find out what it's going to cost you. I cannot tell you up front. What I can tell you is if you've got the stars, what you see on top here is the screened ads. So in the old days, if you wanted to be on the top of Google search, you either paid a pay-per-click or you paid a guy a lot of money for search engine optimization. I think it is worth trying, and I think it's going to change. Building your plan. You've seen this diagram before. Directories and citation, pay-per-click ads, retargeting ads, search engine optimization, all of this stuff we mention in this document, which is the ultimate marketing guide for attorneys. That will give you point by point what goes into your marketing plan. And on the spreadsheet we'll be sending you, the first tab is all about goals and projections. The subsequent tab says, here is every month, and here's your theme for that month. And here's something I suggest. Let's get out of this for a minute. How do you know what you should talk about? Watch how easy this is. Not sure what to talk about? Here you go. Scholarship law from a university. There you go. This is now content. Now don't copy it. All right, but you can use this for ideas for what you should be talking about. I've got 10 questions here. I've got 12 months. Guess what? That's one theme a month. Write them down on the spreadsheet. delegate them to your in-house marketing person, give them to your marketing outsource partner, have the content written, redeploy it on social media, make sure that your ads reflect whatever your topic of the month is, have blogs created. I don't know what to advertise. I don't know what to say. So here is Intellectual Property Basics Q&A for students. Here are your content ideas. It is not hard. Here's a trick I like to suggest to attorneys. Most attorneys don't like to write marketing material. They sit down and there's total mind blank. My experience, however, is if I ask an attorney a question, they have no problem with a 5-minute answer. If that's you, then turn the camera on your computer and answer any of the questions that we encounter in this search. 10 effective ways to protect your intellectual property by Forbes. Okay, so separate teams, run lean and fast, open source it, avoid joint ownership. Tell me, Mr. Attorney, tell me, Miss Attorney, why should I avoid joint ownership of my patent? Oh, easiest way to guarantee a lawsuit is to bring on board a partner. Blah, 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 blah. So record the answer. After you record the answer, hand it off to a service like rev.com and let rev.com transcribe it, and you're off to the races. You'll end up with 12 topics going across your pay-per-click platform, your blogging platform, all of your different platforms. Now, I have this for you in a spreadsheet. Reach out to me at hello@Local Legal Marketing. And what you will have then is half of the spreadsheet deals with how to deal with your projections, how to make them real, how to make the numbers attainable and trackable. And the second half of the spreadsheet says, what are your marketing messages going to be for the year? You hand off that marketing messaging to your outsourced marketing partner or to your internal marketing staff and say, I hold you accountable. I want to see an article on each one of these questions on my desk. If you want to ask me the question and record it, you're welcome to. If you want to research it, you're welcome to. But I want to see it out on social media. I want to see it out on our pay-per-click ads. I want to make sure that everything is talking about the same stuff so that we maximize the impact of it over the year. And next thing you know, in 1 year, you are done. What are your top 3 internet marketing initiatives that you need to implement to hit your 2022 goal? What did you learn? What did you notice? What would you like to share? We've covered setting goals. We've covered the 3-month fundamentals for marketing success. We've covered optimizing your website for conversion. We've given you the big picture on all of the marketing channels. We've talked about the latest trends, and we've equipped you with the tools that you can create your own custom action plan. This is what we promised to do. If you want our help, let's talk. Call me. Now, remember, people don't like to phone. So go to my schedule, locallegalmarketing.com/schedule, or reach out to me by email. What's this stuff cost? Deliberately a blank screen. Let me put it in perspective. Let's say that you were going to hire an in-house marketing person, your first marketing person. You want them to optimize your website for conversion. You want them to get your pay-per-click running and do all of the keyword research to make sure that you are paying to advertise for the right words. You want them to get your social media firing on all channels. And then you want some geo-targeted ads that are going to land in, let's say you're in an elder law environment. You want to put ads in all nursing homes. Go. What are you going to pay for that person? If you're really cheap and really lucky, you'll get an entry-level person for about $3,000 a month. Now, you're going to pay 10% on top of that for their Social Security. You're going to pay for vacation time, and you're going to have sick time. And then you're going to have to deal with a boyfriend who gave a hard time that night, and the person's a wreck. You're going to deal with a girlfriend who's taken off with somebody else. And you're going to deal with, I have to show up at my baby's, and people quitting with no notice. So that $3,300 a month is probably going to be about, let's call it 50% more. Now we're dealing with $4,500, $5,000 a month. This $3,000 a month person is costing them. Now, of course, they need a computer. Chuck in $2,000 because you can't do video editing on a $100, $200 computer. Then you're going to need the software. Most of these software things are subscriptions now, so you probably got $500 a month in software subscriptions. Then they're going to have to learn how to use all this stuff, and you might have to send them to classes. Then they're going to have to learn your business, because if they make a misstatement online, it's your license that's on the line. All right? Shoe shops don't have stuff like the Florida bar to contend with. Your advertising has to be pristine. So altogether, we're talking about, before we start spending on advertising, about $7,000. Now you get some hotshot digital consulting firm that says, dude, I'll do this for you for $1,000. Is that even credible? Are you going to get $6,000-7,000 worth of effort for $1,000? I mean, let's just hold on for a minute. Whatever happened, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If you're really looking at driving to double and triple, first, do you want that entry-level person for $3,000 a month? Or do you want to hire a higher level person that has more skills? When you hire an outsourced partner, if they're not talking about a plan and a system, they didn't make the first cut, because there is no one thing. You should expect to pay between $3,000 and $7,000. Here's the numbers. Small Business Administration says that the average business spends just over 7% of their revenue on marketing. And remember, marketing has the production and then what you're paying for the advertising. And that should be about 1/3 and 2/3. Okay, so of that 7%, 1/3 are the people that are doing it, and 2/3 are what you're going to pay to the advertising companies and the printing companies and all that sort of thing. That's average across the board. You're watching this webinar. I don't think you want to be average. The American Bar Association queried their members, came up with 12 to 13% is what the firms that grow the fastest spend. So if you're $1 million firm, you should be spending about $130,000 between the people that are doing the production and the people that you pay to run the ads. That's a fair amount of money. But if you don't have that in mind now, and remember, this is the American Bar Association querying their memberships, firms like yours, looking at their growth, looking at what they spend on marketing, making the correlation. You don't want to be average, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You don't want to blow too much money, so you need a cap. Take 11 to 12% of your revenue as what you should be spending. And remember that today your revenue is X, and tomorrow we want that to be 2 or 3 times, 4 times more. The marketing investment should reflect where you are going, not where you are now. Our engagements start at about $3,000 to $5,000 a month. For that, you get our strategies, our team who does this all day long, every day, 4 attorneys. And you will pay for your ads. And because we do this so often, we get some efficiencies. And you will probably not spend as much as you would for somebody who says, YouTube, what do you do for a living? Digital marketing. Yeah, but what do you do for a living? Digital marketing. Just told you. No, what do you do? Digital marketing. All right. What type of digital marketing? Video. Oh, good. What type of video? YouTube. What type of YouTube? YouTube ads. All right. So at the end of the day, you do YouTube ads. You've got one thing. What's it going to cost me? $2,000 a month. Boy, if you put this together piecemeal and you hit every channel at $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000 a month, you're going to be spending a fortune and underperforming because it will not work together. Most of you will not engage us. It's the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule says 20% of the providers get 80% of the business. You decide where you're going to be. Once you've decided, yeah, I want to be on the growth fast track. I want my sales pulled in tight and water pouring over the side as I'm filled with adrenaline, having the time of my life running my law firm and watching it explode around me in a good way. All right, then you've decided you want to be in the 20%. Invest the money. Invest it with somebody who's talking to you about driving systems that make sense. If you're having a lovely sale and you think this is nice, I'll head off into the sunset for my retirement. I got enough money set aside. Life is good. Then do what you need to get by and to not fall far behind and enjoy yourself. There's nothing wrong with that strategy. Our practice is looking for law firms that are thrilled to be doing what they're doing. And if that's you, give us a call. Drop us a line. Fill out a form online. Thanks a lot, guys. Our next webinar will be the client journey, and I will make it about half this size because this has gone on too long and it's too much to ask you of your time. All right, expect to see that in about 2 weeks. Have a thriving Thursday. Have a great day.